Man, I'm pushing it. January 10th, 2023, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Council, you have December 27th, 2022 regular meeting minutes to approve or not.
Have you had a chance to read them? Have you had a chance to read them?
Yep.
I make a motion that we accept the December 27th, 2022 council meeting minutes.
I second.
Mike or Jim? Okay, it's moved and seconded to approve the December 27th, 2022 regular meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. All right. With the agenda, I would like to add under C, make a new D, small animal permit. That's Rod Dennis for chickens. And that knocks everything else down. So, any objections? All right. First item in new business is Kyle with ACDC, and as promised, you requested a while back for more information, so he's going to take the floor and.
Let's be careful what you ask for, because I brought information. I'll give you guys this, and then there's a couple spare copies floating around. These are for you to keep, light reading to go to bed with.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So, for those that don't know me, I'm Kyle Yankee. I am the Executive Director for the Adams County Development Council. We are based out of Adams County. I work from home in Ritzville. That's where I live for 9 years. We have an office that the county provides in Othello. So I split my time between Othello and Ritzville, and then in Lynn and Washington as needed. So last year I inherited this job. I sent out an old invoice. Every city in the county pays in. I just hit copy paste, sent it out. It was $1,000 last year. I went and reevaluated with our neighboring partners. I elevated what I asked everyone, so I doubled Lynn's ask from 1,000 to 2,000. And the fair first question is, what the heck do we get out of that money, and why should it go to ACDC? So the county pays the bulk of our contract. The commissioners and I have a service agreement. They give us our funding. 99% of our funding comes from the county. Their ask is that I go to Othello, Ritzville, Lynn, and Washington and fundraise from the city, both from the municipality and our private businesses. So I contact all of our businesses as well. They're sick of seeing me too, but everyone asks, what do you do for us? So ACDC exists to elevate the whole county. So we want to bring business into the county, and we want to support our existing businesses. Overall, we want to make it a good place to live. And I say that tongue-in-cheek because everyone's like, what's wrong with where we live? Nothing's wrong with where we live, but it can always be better. That's the goal for us at Adams County. So I am the executive director and also the only employee, so I clean the toilets too. It's everything from top to bottom. Maribel serves on my executive board. Our board is made up of 16 members throughout the county, some from Othello, some from Lynn, Washington, Ritzville. So that's the spiel of ACDC. We've been around since I think 2007 is when we incorporated. I've been there a whole year, so anything pre last year, I can only say I'll look into that, but I don't have all the answers. Stephen McFadden, if you're familiar with him, he was the county funded position from 2016 to 2020. He left, he's down Pasco. We consolidated, so it's just ACDC, not the band, I don't play guitar, doing these services for the county. So every county in the state of Washington has an ACDC. It was put into the state legislature years ago. So we are the ADO, so we get funding from the state as well. Basically, when the State Department of Commerce says, hey, someone's looking to bring jobs to the area, they send out feelers to everyone. We reply if it's a good fit, hey, we can do that. That would be a good fit for our county, or no, thank you. One of the no's, like last week I got one that had 10,000 jobs. Nowhere in Eastern Washington is able to say yes to that one. Spokane County had to even bow out of that. So there's some of them that come through that simply well past our capacity. We say no, but there's some that come through that say, hey, this one has 40 jobs, light manufacturing. Okay, that's a good fit for most of Adams County. So we put our best foot forward, say, here's the properties and areas we think would be the best fit. Let us know when you hear back. I was on a site visit with one in Othello last week for 250 jobs for light manufacturing in Othello. Now, 250 jobs in this portion of the county would be a pretty heavy lift. I mean, that would be more than our capacity to serve. So that's one where Othello is the better fit for that specific entity. Still in Adams County, still tax-paying dollars, still revenue coming into the county. So if we could land that one, it would be a good fit. So that's kind of the gist of what I do. I also exist to help our existing businesses. So access to grants, loans, business advising. I'm far from a business expert, but under my umbrella of services, I have access to Small Business Administration, Small Business Development Center. There's a bunch of other government acronyms, alphabet soup, that, you know, resources for small communities, small businesses. I mean, small businesses are the cornerstone of our county. I mean, you can name our big employers, most of which are in Othello. The rest of us exist on truly the definition of small businesses. So that's what I'm here to support. So with that $2,000, what does that help get? I went through, and I'll pass it out to the rest of the community too, what we've done historically, what ACDC has given to the town of Lynn, and I hate to say given because it's not a trade, it's not quid pro quo, that's just what we are here to do is support Lynn. So the businesses, one of the bigger things we did is during COVID, which we all love that term, ACDC was in charge of administering the Work in Washington grants. So the emergency money came to ACDC, we were in charge of gathering the applicants, passing it back through. So this table says about $50,000 of the several $100,000 that came through for Adams County specific, that was earmarked for us. Applicants from Lynn received about $50,000 of that. And that wasn't out of ACDC's pocket, so don't get me wrong. That was money that was passed through money that we administered to make sure that people were, you know, dotting their I's, crossing their T's. They were legit businesses. Here's our use case for why we need that CARES money. We passed it through. So I mean, that's just one example. I hope to God we never have to do that again, because I don't want to go through another pandemic. But that is one of the services we provided.
I'm sorry, how much did you say Lynn got out of that?
Roughly $48,700 through various businesses.
So it didn't come through town hall, it went to the businesses?
Just businesses.
Oh, okay.
Businesses and nonprofits.
Here in town?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, there's.
That they had to apply for.
Yeah, they had to apply and all the applications. I mean, we had to pass that back through to the state, and some of it was federal money, but yeah, they had to have an EIN or a nonprofit status. I mean, it was legit businesses. You read some of the news, and we didn't have any of the ones that some other areas had with people just trying to squander money. So no, it was private businesses, nonprofits in the city of Lynn proper. My predecessor, Stephen McFadden, I know secured money for the Adams County Historical Society for emergency repairs, I believe, for the building that they're located in. It was around $24,000 that came through Honeyford's office. That was back in 2018, so that wasn't by any means anything I did. I was probably still in Othello or Pasco at that point, working on potato sheds, but that was it's another example of the ability I have. If there's a community need that says, hey, I mean, this building, this nonprofit, this entity, we're struggling, we need emergency money. There's now congressionally directed spending. I can go to our state legislators and say, they have an X amount of pocket money to say, put it to the community that I serve that needs it. I can't advocate for that unless people tell me that there's a need for that. So I mean, that's also why I'm here is you guys now know who I am. All my contact information, this is my work cell and my personal cell, so try not to call me on Sundays. I want a couple days to myself. But if there's things going on in Lynn that I need to know about, I'll come down and look at it. I live in Ritzville. I pass through at least 3 times a week. that's what I'm here for.
So you want us to post your number on the bulletin board downtown?
No, I might just have to get a second landline. But honestly, that's why I'm here. It's my cell. I mean, I want to be accessible, and that's something ACDC hasn't done in the past. Is to their credit, they've been working on gaining, new industry, new employees to the area. But I don't know if our community knew what they were working on, and I'll be honest. When I joined ACDC and I was a board member, I showed up to a couple meetings. I was like, cool, they do their own thing. I don't know if I'm that interested in this. Now that I've taken the position and done it for a year, as you guys can all imagine, I mean, you only see the surface of what someone's working on. The stuff to get to that point is a huge lift. And we're the third smallest county in the state, second smallest county. I mean, we have hurdles in front of us. I mean, Adams County, we're doing good, but we can do better. And that's what this position, exists for. But same thing, community needs. I want to hold stakeholder meetings with each area individually. I don't want it to be a Lynn-Bridgeville combined one. Maybe we have one at one point, but I want to keep it separate. So what does Lynn need? I mean, I can go put me to task on what do you see as your future? What can I target to bring jobs, people to this community? Sign off, agree with me, and send me to task on doing that. Because I have my ideas of what is a good fit for here, but I can't do it solely on my own. I need community input. And that's really the platform I want to build on is, yes, the county pays my wage. I work for the county wholly, but I work for each city individually. So I need your guys' community input. What is a good fit here? What's not a good fit? Don't put all of our eggs in one basket, but try to figure out what is the best fit for us. And I could talk forever, but I'll try to keep this short. And that's
Sorry, I think it would be really nice to have a community meeting with you, and so people can prepare and bring their ideas to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that would be a good idea.
And then on the purple page of this one, at the last, I put like a fake placeholder, and I'm planning these in each community and this just says Lynn stakeholder meeting. So I want it to be invite only. It's not going to be a hard invite list. I just don't want it. I want to know who's coming so we can prepare. But yeah, I mean, community stakeholders, and at each of these meetings, I want a Vista to be there because they have a huge say. They have us. I mean, we have to adhere to what's possible by them, our utility providers. But I want to know what's possible, and then have these meetings in the community. In this building, ACDC will provide pizza. I mean, no one likes to work for free, and food's a good close second to being paid. So have the ability to have a round table and just say, hey, this is what we see, and that's how discussion. I mean, not everyone's going to agree, but no one agrees on everything. That's the world we live in. But have those community engagement meetings where, okay, here's our top 5. See you later, Kyle. Come back to us when you have answers. I mean, that is the goal. Economic development's a really slow boat, as with anything quasi-government in the world we live in right now. But it's I've already seen strides in the year I've been there, and I'm extremely looking forward to the next couple years.
I see on this, you have it kind of broke down as far as what you're talking about. So not everybody and their dogs join, but,
right.
Obviously people can go, but it's kind of broke down into groups of people that.
I just want to make sure it's people that are invested in the communities. I mean, if there's,
Right.
And what is that barrier to entry? I don't know. I mean, business owners, 100%. Landowners, I mean, it's a loose definition of stakeholder, but I want people that want to be there for the greater good.
Right.
One of the things we really need to see if we can get brought in here is really good internet service.
I'm glad you asked about that. So the county, as maybe you guys are aware, the commissioners applied to several, I think our funding's coming from 3 different grants, so don't quote me on this, but Lynn proper, all of Lynn proper will be getting fiber to the home. If this goes, we've been given the award, which is in the government only half the battle. So they said, yes, you can have this money. In my car right now, I'm working with commissioners. We have the bids from 4 different companies on our RFP. It's going to be a couple of year process, so we're currently vetting them. When we find a contractor to award it to, they're supposed to start in the spring. It'll be a year or 2 construction, but Lynn proper, Bridgeville proper, Washtuckna is on it, and then outside, like west of Othello, we're all covered by this grant. So the goal is, yes, to have fiber to the home, and I can attest to that, because without internet, you can't do anything anymore.
Yes.
And we are the least connected county in the state, but we're working to make that not the case anymore.
Yeah, Starlink's not cheap for everybody.
No, and I use it. Starlink's the only way I exist, but it's
That's-
not the best. It shouldn't be our only option
No,
Right.
we shouldn't.
at all.
It's good, but yeah, I agree.
It could, yes.
Do you have any idea if the fiber is going to be underground? In Moses
working
Lake
on,
it
like,
was.
I mean, yes, parts of it will be. There's franchise agreements with Big Ben and Vista for some of it on overhead, and that's really going to be up to the contractor's scope of what is most feasible and economical. A lot of it's going to be overhead because there's already poles, but places where there's not, they'll typically pull it underground because then they don't have to get overhead easements. It's really up to the individual landowner and then the contractor on how they do that.
'Cause
And I'm only advising the county on different parts of it. They ultimately make the decision, but that's part of my role is running our broadband team of what is the best way to navigate that.
Do you have any ideas for the town of Lynn? We're going to give you $2,000,
Sure.
okay? Specifically designed for the town of Lynn.
Yep.
All right. You tell me what that $2,000 is gonna buy us.
I think it pays for me to talk to people. I mean, right, wrong, or indifferent, my job gets done by networking, meeting people. And it's not like the emails like, hey, I'm so-and-so, that's good, but physically being in front of them is the way things get done now. So what do I think the best fit for the town of Lynn? I think it's the same one that probably applies to Ritzville. Is let's use our land, warehousing. I mean, we have open land and access to one of the best highways in the state. Someone can go plop a pretty sizable building, employ 20 to 30 people with good paying warehousing jobs. And it's almost no, I mean, there's impacts everywhere, right? But that's what we've kind of identified as East Adams County, what I'll call us. That is our most logical, easy fit without much. It's low power requirements, almost no water requirements. Natural gas is, if it's there, cool. If not, we'll heat it with electric. I mean, warehousing is a really, and the shape, especially post-COVID, of our supply chain issues. People, I mean, I've gone to warehousing conference, and it's the number one issue is like we have, you know, they were all caught with their pants down. I mean, so I've fielded requests all the time now of like people like casually poking, like investor groups, like, hey, we're looking at a warehousing project. Yeah, I'm not surprised. And you know, our land is affordable, and it'll stay affordable even if we start to get some of these. I mean, it's warehousing, in my opinion, is our number one fit. But that's where now I say that I want to make sure the community agrees. I mean, that is probably our good first base to bring 20 to 30 people in at a time with decent paying jobs. They elevate, you know, the housing. It all feeds each other. So for that $2,000, it pays for me to go to some of these conferences, which are in places I don't want to be. Vegas is number one. And that's where 90% of my conferences are. You're face to face with the decision makers of these companies that are looking to expand their operations or redistribute what their warehousing scheme looks like. Among other things. I mean, I'm open to a lot of options. Food processing is always a good option. Othello has the lion's share of that food processing because it's a heavy natural gas usage most times, and there's a pretty big pipeline running through Othello, so they've been a benefit of that. And it's a heavy water requirement too. But all things are possible. We just need to survey what is doable, what do we have, what are our assets, and then go from there. The last thing I did want to highlight, if you go to our website, growadamscounty.com, pretty easy website to remember. We just implemented a site selection tool, so you can go in there. It's like Google Maps for Adams County. You can go input, I have access to it, of what's available. So vacant land, vacant buildings. It's not like a realtor for houses. I don't want any houses on there whatsoever. It's just commercial and industrial sites. If people don't know they exist, it's hard for us to market them. It's hard for me to market them, but someone from outside the county will never know that exists. So that's kind of the homework for the town of Lynn is tell me what you have. What buildings are able to be purchased? What is their current usage? What's their zoning? I can figure all that out. Does someone have a bunch of big land for warehouses? I mean, put that on our GIS website, then that pops up. Like site selectors will go there and say, like, hey, you know, there's 6,000 acres outside of Lynn in various parcels.
Right, but half the problem is going to be getting the people to sell it or
Oh, yeah.
part ways with it. They'd rather see it sit there and rot and fall to the ground than let something new come in, you know.
No, that's
The old
100%.
school mentality is still big around here, obviously, and I'm sure you see it all the time.
Oh, yeah, I mean, especially living in Ritzville, I when I first moved to town, I was like, why are these buildings empty? And I was quickly told, don't ask some of those questions.
Right.
Oh, okay, good. So that is half the battle. But if we have someone that's viable that wants to be here, you go with option A. If option A is wishy-washy, and at some point, options A through D, someone will say, yeah, I want to do this. Or they should. I mean, and that's having the conversation of if they're on the fence, here's the economic impact of what this looks like. Yeah, I mean, these folders are made for everyone. There's nothing in there that's hidden information. I mean, all my contacts on there. This is just a brief snapshot of like the last 5 years of ACDC and Lynn specific interactions. I mean, I did search through 10 different computers to find this stuff. Like I said, I've only been doing this job for a year. I probably should have been in front of all of you guys 6 months ago, but I finally have my feet underneath me. I'm ready to attack a little bit more, so I'm hoping you guys will use me for the greater good. Okay? So that's my spiel.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or whatever while Kyle is here?
He said he's gonna leave one of these for the public or whatever.
I'll leave all of them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep, there's copies.
And we can get copies or whatever if we need to for people if they want.
Do you have one up there for
So-
London?
What's that?
London? Do you have one up there for London?
I'll keep one of these spare ones.
It's probably out there. somewhere.
Okay.
If anyone needs more, just let me know. I can make copies of what we have in there.
Okay, so do you want to ask any more questions on the information that was presented in December on the invoice dated January 1st of 2023? Or do you want to wait until the next meeting to address that again, or do you have more questions that you want answered before that?
I think he covered it pretty well myself, but I don't speak.
I agree with Mike.
Do we want to wait till the next meeting to take a vote on this? When London's here too, or? Go ahead.
I can't see them having any objections.
I'll make a motion that we accept it.
Pay the 2,000?
Accept the invoice
For
Invoice.
the ACDC.
for the ACDC.
See where I'm reading per capita contribution? It's right there where your thumb's at.
Yep, right there. Yep, that one. Make a motion, I would go ahead and accept that.
I second it.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to approve the $2,000 for ACDC 2023 per capita contribution invoice. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries.
Well, thank you guys. Like I said, I hope to be, I'm as approachable as can be. And whatever ACDC does, other than your donation here, costs nothing. So don't hesitate to email, call if you want me to come look at a building, property, you want my opinion on something. If I don't know the answer, which is highly likely, I'll find the people that do.
And so, like this round table that we talked about a little bit ago, so if we get some input from the community members and stuff, the business owners, on when they think it would be a good time, we can just get a hold of you and then we'll try to set up a place and then.
Yeah, we can meet
Time to
here
do
wherever,
that.
and springtime-ish, I mean, it's kind of what I'm looking at.
Probably, yeah, winter, this time of year is not the greatest time.
Between roads and other, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to do most of them in March, April, May would be my goal.
Okay.
I'm pretty open. And I don't think it'll just be a one-off. I mean, we won't get everything done in one meeting, but it
Right,
starts
right.
the conversation and have,
Well, and that'll give like the small business owners and stuff opportunities to
we have a couple, I mean,
come up with stuff.
2 to 3 of them a year. I mean, I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
Happy to come to city council meetings. I mean, like I said, I want to be in front of everyone. I got nothing to hide. If I sign a non-disclosure from a company that's looking at us, I'll say, hey, I've signed something. Can't tell you who it is, but I don't have any of those right now. So I mean, right now, all cards are on the table.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thanks again.
You guys are good. I'm gonna sneak home because
Yeah.
put the little ones down.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Well,
But
thank you.
I left all the copies here, so
Okay,
All right, thanks.
if you don't need more, just let me know.
all right, thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is EMT information. Jason.
Well, good evening, members of the council, Madam Clerk, Madam Mayor, thank you for allowing me to speak for a few minutes. I won't take too much time here. I'm here to advocate for potentially bringing EMS service back to Lynn as far as having an ambulance here. I mean, we have EMS service here in Lynn, but I'm sure you're all aware of, well, I'll get to that part later. So just a little bit about me. Pretty much a lifer of Lynn, love this town, always will. I've been a firefighter here for almost 25 years, it'll be 25 in June. And I was also an EMT for the ambulance crew here for 15 years. It was brought to my attention about a month ago that the hospital district in Ritzville will be hosting an emergency medical technician class coming up in February. It starts February 4th and it runs till May 10th. I won't read all of this, but I will leave these flyers off on the table here when I'm done. There is a name of the name of the EMS coordinator and her phone number on these flyers. If any of you are interested, or if you know of people that are interested in wanting to become emergency medical technicians, I myself, I am not going to take this class. I think I did my bit for King and Country for 15 years, and I would like to see another group of people in this community step up and take that role. Considering previous events we've had in town recently, I feel very strongly that we should have an ambulance back here in Lynn. And the only way for that to happen is if we get a solid crew of people that are willing to put the time in to put it together, okay? It takes a lot of time, a lot of commitment. The class is not easy, but that's what I'm here to tell you about because I'm a little tongue-tied right now. So I can answer some questions if you have any. To the best of my ability, I have been in contact with the EMS coordinator in Ritzville. I have gleaned some information from her, and I'll share it with you right now. And like I said, all this information I've gleaned is as accurate as possible to the best of my knowledge. There are 14 EMTs in Ritzville, but only 3 of them live in the town. Okay, so the others, they have to draw from outside areas, and which means that it's hard for them to man and staff an ambulance in Ritzville now. Okay, at times, not all the time, but there are times where they have been strained on putting crews together to man shifts. There is one EMT in Washtutna. Same thing, just depends if that EMT's in town, you know, if they're there to get on the bus and go. There are 4 ambulances. 3 of them are in Ritzville. 1 of them is in Washtutna. And like I said, it would be nice to see one back here in Lynn.
Yes.
I feel very strongly about that, but at the same time, I feel like I've done it and would like to see a new group of people step up and take the initiative to get it back down here.
How many people, Sanger, what do you think, or basically, how many would we need to be fully trained and committed as far as actually getting the ambulance back here, like we had before?
And this is just my opinion. That's a great question, Mike. Me personally, I really think that we would need at least 10 people in this town to be trained, committed. That way, the load is distributed evenly
Right.
amongst people.
But as far as getting
Yes. That's my number. Could you do it with 5? Sure. Would they want to do it all the time? No. Okay. I think that if we had 10 people here in this town that were fully trained, they could probably make it work. If there's less than 10, from what I've gathered from the hospital, from the EMS coordinator, they have kind of a plan in place. Like, for example, if the one EMT in Washtuckna isn't available for a certain time of the day, they'll let the hospital know, and then they'll say, okay, you better send Ritzville's crew to Washtuckna automatically. Something like that could be put in place here, but that whatever crew we do get together, they would have to communicate with the hospital and say, look, we're not around on this Saturday or whatever. And they would have to let them know so they could back us up and things like that. Right. Just a couple of stats I do remember getting. Last calendar year, 2022, there were almost 800 calls of EMS service just in East Adams County. So we're talking Hatton East. Okay, and it encompasses the Ritzville Hospital District. You guys know there are 2 hospital districts in Adams County. One is Othello, which goes out to Hatton, I believe. And then pretty much from Hatton, north and east, and everything in between is Ritzville's, which is our hospital district. Okay, and that's a rather large service area to cover. And when I was told 800 EMS calls, I was like, wow. I mean, when I did it back in the Stone Age, I mean, if we were lucky to get maybe 300 calls a year in East Adams County, now it's up to 800. Okay. So that does put a strain on the resources we have for emergency medical service. Okay. And what were the other numbers I was thinking of? Oh, yes. In our East Adams County, not only are you looking at the towns of Washtuckna, Ritzville, Lynn, we have several miles of critical infrastructure that we cover as far as highways go. Okay, we have almost, just in Lynn's ambulance district alone, there's darn near 30 miles of US Highway 395 that we cover, okay, that our ambulance used to cover, okay. Interstate 90, same thing, there's about 13 miles, but you have to think of all those highways and roads that run through Adams County. So we do service critical infrastructure, all the land in between towns. Okay, so it's more than just the towns. You have to think about the big picture. Another thing I want to point out that I was told by the hospital is that not only does is the Ritzville crew strained from covering their own area, having to go to Washtuckna sometimes, coming down here all the time, they've had to start making runs to Sprague, because there's only 3 EMTs in Sprague. And so it's kind of one of those things, well, I guess if Sprague's not there, then I will send Ritzville. So my point is that I believe that there's a little bit of a strain on the resources and manpower available for EMS service in our end of the county. So I thought, you know what, I'll give it a shot and advocate to have people in this community step up and bring something positive back to this town, because we've needed it for a long time.
Well, think about some of the calls that we've been on and how long with the whole, like you're saying, Ritzville might have 3 people that live in town, how long it takes an ambulance to get, and that's if they're not somewhere else to get to Lynn.
And drawing from personal,
it's kind of scary when you start thinking about it. I'm sure a lot of people know, but
drawing from personal experience as far as response times. Last month, my neighbor suffered a cardiac event, and it took the ambulance from Ritzville about 25 minutes to get here. I had to go over to the house and assist with CPR and all that stuff. And if we would have had an ambulance here in Lynn, that 25 minutes would have probably turned into maybe 5 or 6 minutes. Okay.
Right.
And the quicker you get pre-hospital care to somebody, the better off they'll be. I'm so sorry, Denise, you've been raising your hand. Yes.
Well, that's okay. I just wondered, at one point, the hospital was reimbursing the cost of the class after you served for a year. Do they still do that, or do you know?
Yes, now I'm not 100% accurate on as far as what the costs are per student, but from what I have been told, the more students they get for this class, the less the cost will be to each student. So whatever tuition and you are correct on that, whatever tuition, you have to pay a tuition fee and books and things like that. But I believe you're right on that statement, that if you are, if you get through the class, you pass, and you give a year of service to the ambulance squad, then you will be reimbursed for those expenses after 1 year. That's what I was been told.
And perhaps we could do a GoFundMe, something to help those people pay in the first place.
That could be. I mean, I was told that hospital was looking for some grant monies to help with tuition costs. I know that there was a EMS proposition that was just passed. And, you know, it was on the ballot last November. I'm sure you all saw it. I believe those monies were supposed to be dedicated to training and, you know, and all things EMS. So I don't know exactly. Again, I'm just speculating on that one here. I'm not the fact person on that one. So, but like I said, I feel very strongly that we need it back here. Considering the population of town, we just need it back. That's all I can say.
Went away. It was a big loss for the
It was
town.
a huge loss when it went away. I mean, it was down to, I don't know how many EMTs were left when it went away. One, and you're looking at them. And I said, I can't do it anymore. You know, and that's just what happened, unfortunately. And I know that they've had classes. I'm trying to think, this was almost 10 years ago when I bowed out. So it's been almost a decade that we have not had them here. And yes, Councilman Dorschak.
I hate to raise this ugly question, but how is the funding obtained for the ambulance and crew?
It's provided through taxpayer dollars. We are taxpayers of the Adams County Hospital District Number 2.
Right.
Yep.
So as far as the town's participation in it, what would be our?
The town of Lynn?
Correct.
I don't think there's any financial obligation from the town of Lynn.
Okay, where's it going? We get an ambulance. Okay.
I think I know what you're gonna ask, but yes.
Okay.
Where's it gonna go?
Where are we gonna go put it?
That's exactly
We gotta
right.
pull that car out of the shed and put the ambulance.
Exactly.
You know,
Well, yeah, that's one idea, but we've had
the problem,
some issues.
you know, and that good old shed down there at Town Hall served a purpose for a number of years. Believe me, I ran in and out of there, opened that door several times. So,
Right.
had to stay the night down there one night when the power was out. That was fun. I was like, oh, spiders get on me. But anyway, it's too small.
Yeah, it won't fit it.
I
It
just,
was just throwing it
I
out there.
wholeheartedly agree. We need to have a, number one, a more modern facility and
Yeah,
the amenities to support that as well.
as far as I know, that a few years back, the Ritzville EMTs, they went out and built their own garage in Ritzville to house their ambulances. I mean, that was the Ritzville EMS crew that took the initiative on that and got that done. I don't know, I'm sure they got a little bit of parcel of land donated for that, I'm not sure. But they got enough land to build, I'm sure you've all seen it up there, so, you know, by the warehouse, the elevator there. They took it upon themselves to do something about it and built their own garage. Could something like that in Lynn happen? I don't see why it couldn't, but it would take a lot of initiative, it would take some money, it would take, you know, people's time. You know, that's what it takes, just.
What about, don't we have a small clinic over here? Is there enough property maybe they could build onto it?
Yes, my first my first thought is if we ever did get one back here, we could at least park it at Dr. Saccharin's clinic.
Yeah.
Until something else could be arranged. It's good, yes, there is an awning there, I don't know how, if it's tall enough, I don't think anything will be able to fit under it. But there is property there. The only drawback to that is it's outside. And
we gotta get it inside.
it would be, yeah, you'd have to have that thing locked up all the time. The ambulance would have to be locked all the time, it would be cold. But you know, that when Ritzville, they had their ambulances parked at the hospital for years and they were sitting outside. And they had to have them locked up all the time and things like that. But an indoor facility to house an ambulance would be ideal. And there's always a big question, that question is where, you know, or would something have to be built? Where would the money come from to build that? So there's all these different factors, so.
What about Skip's old service station?
That's what I was just thinking.
There's probably a lot of places.
That's funny, because I thought of that too. I don't,
Who knows what's gonna happen with all of that?
well, I can tell you,
He's got everything in probate.
Yeah, I'm
And
aware of
until
that.
they get everything out of probate, she can't do nothing with any of them. And she said she will not invest any of her money into Skip's buildings. That was Kim's exact words.
oh. Okay.
But
But that doesn't mean.
Ambulances will fit in there because when Chris Madison had that as a service station, we did fit one in there.
yeah,
So.
it's big enough to fit one.
But anyway, there's probably options that we could think of.
Well, I think we're looking a little far ahead.
Right.
What we need to focus on, we gotta get people to do this.
Yeah.
Okay? And I can tell you from experience, it's not easy. Okay, it's, you know, I took a class 20,000 years ago, and I'm sure that the curriculum and the training have changed. What I know is that in order to be an EMT in Washington State now, you have to pass the national exam. Okay, so there's a lot of, it's a college course. It's a college level course. Okay, so there's a lot of there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of time, a lot of commitment on getting people to do it, okay? And I'm not trying to shoot anybody away or anything like that. I'm just, you know, laying it to you straight here. That it's going to take time, and the training can be a little intense at times. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of classroom training, but there's also clinical rotations you have to do. You got to go around on a bus and, when I say bus, I mean ambulance. I believe you have to do a ride-along in Spokane or Moses Lake or something like that with crews there. I mean, that's part of the training. So, like I said, I'm not trying to shoo anybody away, but if you know people in this town, and when I say people in town, I've lived here almost all of my life, except when I went to college in Chini. I've seen a lot of new people come into this town, and I wonder, okay, maybe a new crop of people can step up and do this. Because honestly, I don't think I know 75% of the people who live in this town anymore.
Amen.
Okay, which is not bad. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying there's got to be a crop of people that can maybe are willing to do this. Even if we got 5 people, it's better than none.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you guys, I don't want to have a medical emergency in my house where myself or my wife are in danger and we have to sit there and bleed out for 20 minutes. You know? Yeah.
When you call and they tell you you can either drive here or the ambulance will be there to come back.
Right. So, it's just something to think about, and
Get the chopper.
I mean, I know there are a lot of other issues in this community, but I'm trying to think of something that would be good for this town.
That's a great start.
We have to focus on the positive.
Yeah.
Okay, just like with this gentleman here that came from the developmental council. He's young, he's eager, we should utilize what he wants to do, see if we can make something of it. Okay, and I just think that bringing an ambulance and EMS, having EMTs in town again,
That'd be huge.
That's a start. I mean, when he's talking about warehouse development, bringing 40 jobs into town, people coming here. I
They
mean,
have an accident.
when he wants to market Lynn as a potential economic, these people that are gonna come in and look at this land for warehouse, they're gonna go, there's a lot of things that go behind it. There's fire protection, there's ambulance. Those are things that we need to provide. Yeah, police, law enforcement, I mean, all sorts of things have to come together to bring business to town, to Lynn, and having an ambulance crew again would be one of the pieces of that puzzle. Fire department side, I think we're okay, but EMS, that's hurting, so.
Okay, Jason, you have flyers.
I do, I've got some extra ones right here.
February 4th through May 10th is the class,
Yes,
and the classes are 6 o'clock to 8:30.
yep.
Okay.
Every Monday, every other Wednesday, and Fridays, they'll do like a rotating schedule. There will be some Saturday sessions scheduled. I happen to know who the lady is that'll be the instructor. She's a great instructor. So as far as the actual like logistics of the course, calling the hospital and talking to the EMS coordinator would be a better bet than trying to ask me about it, because I don't want to leave out any wrong information or anything like that, so.
Can you put one of those on the community board?
I did.
Oh, good, great.
I did, yeah. I put one on the
Town
community
hall.
bulletin board. I put one on in City Hall. And I had my wife post this to the Facebook page, the Ram Ray page. I figured that was a way to reach a bunch of community members in Lynn, so my wife and I wanted to use that page for a good purpose, so I had her do that. I don't do Facebook, so. But yeah, and I thought I'd come here tonight and speak at a council meeting, and it's something to think about, and it's something that I know there's got to be enough people out here around this town that would be willing to step up and do it. So,
Thank you.
something to think about.
Yeah, man.
So, enough. I went over my allotted time. Sorry.
Thanks, Jason.
Nobody's ringing any bells or anything.
Thank you, thank
Thank you,
you.
Jason.
Any immediate questions that you want to ask while he's here, or there are posted, so. No? Okay, moving on. Item C, resolution 23-01. Council, it is the public records request policy. I'll let Barbara take over that information.
I discovered that just approving the policy wasn't enough. We actually needed a resolution to approve the policy. So I typed up the resolution to approve the policy for the public records policy and procedures that you guys approved in December 27th council meeting.
Okay. Everybody had a chance to read resolution 2301?
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion that we adopt resolution 2301.
I second it.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2301, resolution of the Town Council of Lynn, Washington, establishing and adopting the policies and procedures for public records requests. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. All right, council, next item was the added item, and that is fried Dennis chickens for 4 egg-laying hens. He came in today to do the application.
I make a motion that we pass this permit.
I second the motion.
Okay, moved and seconded to accept Rod Dennis's application for his chickens. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next item is mayor's report. Just so that everyone is reminded, the office is going to be closed Friday the 13th for training, and then Monday the 16th to observe Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So
What training is going on in front of it?
it's with the computer program, the bias
Oh,
accounting.
Oh.
You want to come?
no, I'm saying, oh, you get afterward.
Okay. Just thought I'd ask. Okay. Free dump day dates. Council, you have a half sheet of paper there. And this list is being given to you from the clerk of the dates that CDSI has given to us. Your choice at this moment. All of the dates that are given are open, or available, I should say. April 29th, May 6th, May 13th, May 20th, all are Saturdays. And I think what we're trying to do, we can have, later in June or whatever, but we always try and do before the Derby weekend to clean up the town a little bit. So, floor is open for discussion, decision if you want, or we can wait until next meeting to do a final date.
Is Mother's Day weekend the 13th?
Yes.
I say we do
That
it
could be
29.
alumni.
Yeah, my suggestion was the 20th as well. For a couple of reasons. Number one, we will have another employee on board. Number two, it is without having a holiday of any kind close to it. And there's also, if we put it out now, we will have more time for people to prepare and get all the things together that they need to dispose of.
Did you say the 20th or 29th? I said the 20th.
20th.
Oh, you're wanting to do it at the end of May?
Yes.
My only downfall with that is it's getting closer to the combine stuff, and a lot of people are tied up on the weekends. The closer we get to that, with Lions Club and other things going on out there. Obviously, not everybody is. A lot of us are.
It's, huh?
When is Mother's Day?
14th.
Yeah.
14th,
So that-
following Sunday.
The 13th could be the alumni luncheon banquet or whatever.
Yeah, so that, I
So
just
that would be
automatically
nice.
scratched that out.
I was thinking the early date myself, but that's my opinion.
Okay,
We want to discuss more and figure it out for the next meeting.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of time, so why don't we hold off on that?
Okay.
We can get more formative ideas.
Okay.
can I interject? Do you want a separate bin for just mattresses and a separate bin for furniture, and then the separate bin for just general, here, take it?
How did we do it? Did we have those separate bins last time? Did we fill them all up, or I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
'Cause I know
We usually do.
at first it was pretty slow, and
Well, it was only slow because everybody was wanting to get right there at the
okay,
first.
so we did have the separate bins last time, and it seemed to work out pretty good.
Yeah, we filled the bin of mattresses and we filled the bin of furniture.
So I would think we probably want to do that again in the second day.
What size were those bins?
40-yarder.
You had 3 40-yarders?
Well, the truck itself.
Sorry, you had 2 40-yarders and a truck?
And whatever the truck held.
So you-
So this dump day is always until, it goes until the truck gets full. But the boxes.
But
were
the other
full,
bins is what,
and the furniture and the scrap was full. Yes, so,
are we gonna be able to take appliances
yes,
too? But then there's the fee, but that's.
only if, is that what you were
Only
asking?
on the Freon,
Yeah,
For the
if
refrigerators.
if
like
it's
refrigerators
it's
and
10.
other things that have Freon in them, they need to be moved, and so we need to have a charge for that.
Right, it's
Not
just
there.
like taking one to the normal dump, but
Right.
yeah, I was just
Exactly.
wanting to make sure that they would be taking those too.
And driving around, here's something else that you can think about is a separate mode of operation for tires. Tires would have to go up to Ritzville to the transfer station, but then that would be a fee to take that truck for X amount of tires or whatever. But just think about that, so. Throwing things out for this free, don't they?
Yeah, it's free, all right.
But it's a nice, thing to get the community
Oh,
cleaned
yes.
up. Okay, so, we're waiting for more discussion, okay,
So next meeting.
okay,
May.
okay. All right, tree trimming. I'm getting quotes, and so far, one person, one company, $1,500 to $2,000 per tree. That's to take it out, okay? Stump and the sucker grinding is $450 per stump. Then if you want to do some pruning, it's $800 per tree. For sure, I would like to work it so that we can remove the big tree, and you'll have to visualize, okay? We're on south side, the big tree that is in the south side park drainage ditch. So it's where Sharon Englehart's house, Kenny Kanzler's house, and then the South Park, and then it goes to the coulee. There's one tree that was blocking the flow, and so the flow with all the weeds and the excess water went out into the park, and then came back around and got back into the ditch, and then went to the coulee. So anyway, I'd like to
Why don't we just cut the tree down and we don't worry about eliminating the stump? That's
what we're doing. Okay, so those are the prices that was given to me, okay? That's kind of a priority for that. Pruning, I would like to prune the corner tree at the Centennial Park there by Chris Madison's shop. It's the willow kind of droopy thing. But that would be that $800.
Can you city people some offers?
Yeah, we have, and now it's time to, now it's time to do something. Yeah, the professionals maybe might be best. But anyway, while the flood was, the coulee was flowing and the back ditch was full and expanding across the park, I had a resident approach me and offer a contribution to the removal of the tree. So that's a possibility for town. I said, no, let's just kind of wait and see what it would cost, because at that time I didn't have any prices. And this is only one quote so far. So, something to chew on, I guess. Okay, well 7, Dr. Lindsay is analyzing the lab reports, putting together some possible actions to consider. We will be working with Century West on funding depending on recommendations. Well 8 and the wastewater treatment plant had inspections, and the annual maintenance of the generators today. So everything's doing A-okay. So far, the wastewater treatment plant, the propane tank is still on the top side of half. This nice spring weather is really helping out. Just that was a big blow to the gut on that propane bill. So that concludes my news. And so we're going to return to the agenda for the Finance Committee report.
I didn't see anything.
Make a motion that we adopt the warrant check register dated 12/27/2022 to 12/31/2022 in the amount of $55,809.74.
I second the motion.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the warrant check register of 12/27/2022 to 12/31/2022 in the dollar amount of $55,809.74. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
I make a motion that we pay the outstanding invoices dated 12/7/2022 to 1/5/2023 in the amount of $23,706.45.
I second the motion.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the outstanding invoices dating 12/7/2022 to January 5th, 2023. Dollar amount $23,706.45. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries.
And I am on the list to talk.
Okay, there's one person, and that is Denise Sneed.
Yes.
Or a non-agenda item for discussion.
I have 3 things I need to tell you. Number 1, Paula, it is the town's responsibility to read meters. My meter has always been accessible. I've never had any town crew have any issues reading my meter, and I would like you guys to stop harassing me to read my meter. You guys are, your town crew is paid to do that, and they can do that. There is no reason they can't read my meter. So I want the harassment stopped. You
There's
guys,
no harassment.
Paula, you're bothering me every month to read my meter. You guys need to just read it.
An option of that is that you call it in.
No, there's no option. I'm not calling it in.
Okay,
Read the
then we will-
meter.
Then we will visit your door, we will knock, we will arrange to get.
You don't need to do that. Your ordinance says you have the right to go read the meter, so go read the meter. Number 2 is sewer issues. There are sewer issues on 6th Street. They're backing up still in Tammy's house. And what happened to Ty Strohmeyer's? They cut the line to the Strohmeyer house. I saw it cut. So where's their sewer going?
I don't know, I'll have to ask.
Well, how about if somebody checks it out? Because we don't need sewer running into the street on 6th Street anymore. It's going to cause a sinkhole or some problem. It needs to be taken care of. And why should I have to ask you? Why are you not following through? Number 3, I think it needs to be notify you that during the fire, Cagney went over to Brett's house. I didn't know what she was doing over there. I didn't pay attention. I was on my porch looking at the fire. She went around the block, skipped Vicky's house, skipped Brianna's house, skipped Marianne's house, skipped Jamie's house, went around to Mrs. Underberg and to Jeannie and told them about the evacuation order. And that's kind of lousy to do that during a fire. And how are you going to plan on taking care of these people when that didn't even work? You couldn't even notify people of the garbage, change in the garbage. You had a week to notify people of that.
That's in the post office.
And you couldn't even bother to notify people of that. And so how are you going to notify people when there's a fire? You've got an evacuation piece of paper. How are you going to call people and tell them to evacuate? You have no plan, do you?
The sheriff hit my neighborhood.
They didn't come up in ours. And obviously, if Cagney was responsible, that's not going to work.
I don't know what all, I wasn't
Cheryl came up
here,
to
but I know
us
the
and
sheriff
told us
went
up
down
there.
Third Street, but I don't know where else they went.
Well,
Around town, I don't know.
well, I wouldn't have even noticed, except I saw her because I was on my porch. I saw her go around, and then she went down to Jeannie's Horns. I said, what was that all about? And Jeannie said, they told us about the evacuation. Well, that's pretty rotten to skip the people she doesn't like. And I'm done, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Council, do you have anything, Mr. Mike?
Paula,
Oh,
I'd like to address the changing the dump date. That was posted on the post office, the reader board, the store. It also came with our bill. And
It didn't come in the bill.
yes, it did.
It did not.
I got one in my bill.
okay. Well,
It
that
did
is
not.
okay.
As far as the evacuations, we were sitting with one person, the sheriff went by and they told everybody else to.
Well, good. They didn't come up there by us. The sheriff did not come up in our neighborhood. So I'm glad we notified you. That just shows what a mess it was.
Okay,
Excuse me.
And
Thank
I
you.
don't think
Thank
you've
you.
solved the problem.
thank you, thank you. Do you have a question?
Okay, I was made aware of the change in the garbage dump day by visiting the post office. It was posted there, and I presume it was posted everywhere else.
Well, I'll
I'm
comment
sorry.
on that, because I don't go to the post office all the time, so I didn't see it. So I can see where people wouldn't have got it there, because
Okay,
not
but
everybody goes.
how are you going to, okay, how many people are in the town?
Look, they called Jamie a year ago about moving her garbage can or some stupid thing. So
Okay.
why aren't they calling people? Come on. And it doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is they can't, yeah, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. You can defend her all you want. People didn't
I'm not
know.
going to defend anybody. The signs were up. All you gotta do is read them. If you don't get there on one day, then you obviously don't need your mail that bad. If that's the only place in town, okay? So the next time, how about, we can't go around, every time there's a change of some kind.
Come on, they called Mrs. Underberg and told her that the neighbors were going to put their can out in the street. They called Mrs. Underberg to tell her what the neighbors were doing.
No,
Come on.
She asked.
Come
As far as
on.
posting, the general posting is at the post office, in the town hall, on the bulletin board, and the grocery store. And if anything else can be posted, then it's also given there. So, do you have a question?
I guess communication is important, especially in a small community like this. And it is understandable to take in everybody's circumstance. Everybody's circumstance. The South Side does not go to a PO box. The South Side doesn't even have to come to town if they don't work or do anything down here. So what?
Post office boxes.
There are.
Donna Biddick delivers a lot of people on the other side,
Denise,
so
thank
just
you, one
quit.
time, one person.
What I'm trying to get to is everybody's circumstance is different. How many people in this room have visited the coffee shop? How many people in this room have visited the boat shop? You don't always go to every single place if you don't have to. I saw that it was in the mail this month, but the month that it was changed, it wasn't in there, so there's nothing wrong anybody else. Regardless of it being a small issue, the communication, I think, is the valid point.
Okay, Jason.
I'm not gonna fuel the fire here, I just have a question. Has the town of Lynn looked into a communication system that's similar to what the school district uses?
They dropped it a few years ago because they thought it was too expensive.
Well, Denise, I'm asking the council. council. I
Sorry.
appreciate your answer though, but I'd like to hear it from the council and from the mayor.
As far as, what are you talking about as far as the schools?
Oh, well, the school, they used to use this Honeywell alert system where you would give them your phone number, and if there was like a school closure or anything that was pertinent that needed to get out like that.
Oh, okay, I got you.
They could type it up, send them, it would call those phones. Is that something that's been looked into as a possible alternative to posting signs? I mean, you can still do that, obviously, but is that maybe something that's feasible, or?
I think we will definitely look into that. I don't know that it's been done since I've been on council.
Yes.
No, I'm not.
Well, not since you were on council, but it has
Right.
been part of town.
Has
It was one call.
But I'm saying
And
we can
it would
agree
go
to
out,
address that.
just like with school, go out, and then I didn't understand what the message was. Did you call me? What do you want? Or what, it would come back and it would,
And we
So-
only used it once, we only used it a couple of times.
Okay.
yeah.
And unfortunately, there are people that do not have computers or whatever.
The other thing was people didn't want to give their phone numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's
So
another.
there was some pushback
Well,
from
it's a
community
secret,
members
Richard.
on that? Okay. Okay.
Okay, so Mike, you didn't have anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Myra,
I don't have anything.
Laura.
Okay, this is a personal thing from me being a bus driver. When I come down from the school picking up the kids in the afternoon, every time I have to stop at the stop sign, and there's a trailer parked in the house on what would be northwest corner. Okay. My only thought is, it's been there quite a while. Is there any possibility that we can have that moved so that it doesn't cut the visibility? I have to pull out into the street with my bus, that sucker's long, before I can get enough confirmation that there isn't somebody coming from that dam.
I'm trying to think of where you're talking about.
Okay.
What trailer?
Fire station's right here. Okay,
Yeah.
fire station's right here.
Okay.
There's a house across the street,
Okay.
and the buses come down.
Oh, Ponzo place.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
So,
There's two intersections that are like that, and they have been asked about, so I will follow back up.
Come on, city cop, you know.
okay, and like I say, that was just personal, and I have nothing else.
I make the motion that we adjourn.
I second the motion.
Okay, anybody object to adjourning this meeting?
No.
None.
Okay, meeting adjourned, thank you.